Alright, so boom. Imagine you had a great looking sandwich that you never had, right? And then you find another sandwich, but it's messy as hell. I'm talking like too much sauce, ingredients falling out after the first bite, and now your sandwich is like your dick when it gets soft after a good meat and beat. But for some reason, the sandwich that's messy looking is surprisingly better than the good looking sandwich. It even has a better taste, and you might be asking yourself, why is that? What is so wrong about this good looking sandwich that never made me look like I came out of a Subway commercial? The answer is simple. It's because it was made by Jared. It's because it tastes like nothing. No flavor, originality, nothing. You might think that you got robbed in the first place, to the point where you'd rather get your chain snatched than take another bite of your prototype sandwich that cost $70. It could only be perfect if you or your friends came over and brought some ingredients together to make it taste somewhat decent. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm obviously talking about Cyberpunk 2077 and Starfield. I still have my fair share of time playing both Starfield and Phantom Liberty in between that. Hell, you might have seen them play on stream from time to time, and I have too, which if you haven't tapped into my stream yet, what the hell are you doing? And to be completely honest, I like both. But just like every family that has siblings, there's always going to be that favorite whether you agree with me or not. And it so happens to be Cyberpunk 2077, the messy one. Now, me and my homies are worldwide PC master race terrorists, so even when the game dropped originally, we still had a great time without all the bugs and glitches. And fast forward now, it's safe to say that they've kept their word and redeemed themselves tremendously. From the updates to edge runners to the DLC, this is as close as we're gonna get when it comes to the perfection of Night City. Minus the goddamn limited realm assumptions, but we're gonna talk about that some other time, or not. My editor is also my ghostwriter, so depending on how this goes, it'll either get messy or professional. I digress. It's a blast to play through and through, but Starfield, however, I don't know. I don't know. Remember the analogy I made about sandwiches? Graphics wise, this is the best I've seen from Bethesda yet. From the ships, to the items you collect every time you enter a room, to the characters and even the succulents. Absolutely breathtaking. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's cool missions and weapons, but half of these weapons or issues were fixed by the modding community, or it's because some specific quest lines suited my playthrough or interest, aka the Crimson Fleet, which is the best faction in the entire game. I'm not even exaggerating. It's literally Sleeping Dogs mixed with Treasure Planet the entire time. But outside of that, all you got is bland landscapes and a gameplay system that's too overwhelming to even have a great time all the way through. I can go on and on about this subject, but there's more to both of these games either way. So here's why Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty did what Starfield couldn't do. So the story of both Starfield and Phantom Liberty are one and the same in numerous ways, but the main one that sticks out is that they are both looking for answers in circumstances that they can't control. V with the cybernetic brain tumor and your player with the keys to Treasure Planet. The only exception is that the delivery from their acts, from start to finish, are extremely different from each other when it comes to gameplay. Majority of Phantom Liberty goes by the spy thriller genre, where you have to rescue President Biden, Myers from Dogtown, as well as fighting Sunburst, since she's the reason why you had to rescue your client, as well as having a cure for your illness. Starfield is a bit calmer. A little too calm. Sure, you find a vision and now people are telling you what you've seen and what it means, but it's so bland when you go out and actually start doing it. And what I mean is this. Think of how Mass Effect started, and even though the tutorial was a bit slow, there was a little bit of an emotional attachment with the crew and the mission. Anderson, Joker, and Kaidan are fitting examples of that. Jenkins' death? If you haven't felt any emotional attachment towards his death, you're sick. You need to remove yourself immediately. Saren's betrayal towards Nihilus, rescuing Ashley's racist ass to accidentally looking at the relic and seeing visions of a to-be movie, all this happening at once while still being in a tutorial, and it's absolutely breathtaking. Did I even say more about this? Starfield, however, you start off like Simone from Gurren Lagann, and I was waiting for a mech to come out the sky and start saying, "Just who the hell do you think I am?" But nope. It's just a random pirate raid and you instantly switch careers and become an adventurer for this constellation. No grand introduction, no lives at stake, or even a death in the family that resorts to this decision. Without spoilers, this has the Black Clover effect when it comes to your crew and everything that you do individually, like the gamer you are in Starfield. A slow-paced adventure that doesn't take off until 6 hours in. And for some people, that is a major turnoff, especially given reasons in Fallout 3 and Skyrim. Hell, even New Vegas, that makes you find sole reasons to do time in the main story and do additional rewards and satisfaction for way less. Best example, when you become a Dragonborn and start learning the Greybeards, and it makes you feel like a great Jedi in a Bethesda game. But honestly, it also depends on the perspective, since imagination can make the best out of both of the games. especially anything linked to Bethesda. However, they also depend a lot on mods to even make that imagination come to life in the first place. So meanwhile, Phantom Liberty in CDPR as a whole, we talking Witcher 1 all the way up to Witcher 3. We're talking about Gwent. We're talking about Cyberpunk, because they don't even need it when they first dropped. They didn't need any assistance when they first dropped. This shit was very ass. Like, really, I'm sorry. I know I'm taking the dub for Cyberpunk with this, but let's not get it fucked up. Back in the past, they were in dark times. They were in very, very dark times. They had people selling their games and having refunds on the PlayStation Store. Who? Since when does a PlayStation Store give refunds? Overall, Cyberpunk takes the dub by a landslide. I'm so glad that Starfield and Cyberpunk didn't drop the same time in 2020, because this would have been a double-edged sword. But it's safe to say that the combat for Cyberpunk has improved tremendously, and the relic power-ups are better, if not more powerful, than the main tree. Katanas feel more real, and the way your build is set up upon swords can make your V turn into Kill Bill of Shields of Witcher. New guns are added, new perk systems are added, even a feature for you to use the black wall seamlessly in combat. Need I say more? No, matter of fact, fuck that. Matter of fact, play the montage. Play the montage right now. Now that you've witnessed my 2017 editing skills, let's get back to Starfield's gameplay. You might be thinking, oh god, he's about to change the combat system, especially the guns and ship combat. Ah. No, nigga. And to be honest, I kind of like it for the most part. Every ballistic weapon I've heard sounds great. Like Starfield is almost like Battlefield 4 with the guns and ballistic weapons, if I'm being honest. I go further to say that the Starfield combat is a little bit well thought out on paper, but the execution,
what do you mean?
it's a bit ass at first. Sure, you get certain perks to level out your ship and its weapons and shields and etc. But it's a bit odd that the first couple of missions you start doing in New Atlantis, such as finding Barrett or Sam, leads you to a certain star system that you have or haven't unlocked, just to be ambushed by level 34 and above ships that look like the collector ship from Mass Effect 2, almost to destroy another Normandy. Meanwhile, the combat on land is balanced to a certain extent. For example, if you had a long run and gun type of player game, this game was made for you. You will not have no disappointment. You will have so much fun being the new Spike and Cowboy Bebop playing Starfield. But for stealth players like myself, it's very bad. It's bad. Like, so bad. And even when I had the stealth perk maxed out and the mantis suit equipped with the camo, it's still bad. Like Bethesda, you invest so much time into everything else, even a new game engine, and yet we still have the same stealth mechanics since 2008. Since Fallout 3, you had a ball and you dropped it. And what's worse, the drop was so loud that now you've alerted all the people around you, and now we're all gonna be dead within the next second. Phantom Liberty strikes again. 2-0. As for immersion and characters, let's start with Starfield first and give them the benefit of the doubt, because so far it is not looking good for my boy. This is worse than seeing Stout Poppy lose all that weight just to excel and get his ass beat. Trust me, I'm really rooting for Starfield, but Sarah, literally every other companion is fine, more or less. And they all have a certain moral that is justified in a space adventure, but Sarah, she's a fucking worrywart. If I try to resolve a situation peacefully or even carry a bunch of succulents for no reason, she would still dislike that shit. Like, bro, I can see why your rock band disbanded since you were young. She is not a rock star for real. She is not a rock star. I'd rather have Andreas as a better companion from the jump through and through. Not only is she bad as hell, but her moral compass is so dumbfounded that you can be the biggest bitch in the world or join the Crimson Fleet and fumble every mission in the game and she will still fall in love with your ass.
I'll make that deal. How about you bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
That's real love right there. If your girl doesn't do that, or at least tickle your cock and taters for once, she ain't the one for you, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know why people think that the characters are bad. To be honest, I feel like niggas just hate shit just to hate it and not give an in-depth analysis of the game that they're playing. Delgado, Barrett, and even the Valrune Zealots have a great backstory and expresses a lot when asking certain NPCs about the lore of that said area or person. Unlike Phantom Liberty, which although I said that CDPR has amazing writing, it's sorely lacking with the characters outside the main story. Reed, Songbird, Hansen, Alex, and Myers are all great written characters, and the emotional weight of everyone's situation, including Songbird. My God, she's gotta be in the round table for most tragic characters in gaming, including V and Reed. Bro really got set up by the same chick that hired us and got smoked out by Arasaka without getting a chance to pass back. As for the side characters, they really aren't that memorable as you would think. If anybody has played Phantom Liberty, name 5 side characters that you have had more importance with than the main characters. I'll wait.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Certain moments didn't feel like there was any attachment at all. The only time I did was when I was doing gigs for Mr. Hands, who is honestly the best damn fixer in the game the more you get to know him. If we had the opportunity to have him for the heist with Jackie, our boy could have lived, I promise you. It's just like fucking a bitch. You either got the preference to go deep or go wide. But for the sake of the interest in both the main and side characters alike, Starfield gets that by a landslide. I don't think I can say the same for the Immersion though. It's ironic considering Cyberpunk at launch had no police system that was fully implemented at all, but not this time around. I'm not sure I want to explain why, so I'm gonna tell you a little story, okay? Gather around, campers. It all started when I saw this data shard in the middle of the street and I thought, this looks like a BD, which it was. What it played was the first couple of minutes of Edgerunners. You know, the Cyber Psycho and its Endeavor stand, etc. After the BD played, I get a call from one of the remaining crew members. Chopped it up a bit and I got his jacket. Knowing what happened in Edgerunners, a flood of emotions came back to me like a wave of no end. And I reminded myself that I will never stop argumenting and adding more cybernetics, even if it turned me into a cyber psycho myself. Fast forward, after getting some head from Pan Am, I went to this pier in Pacifica. And it came to my surprise that there was a psycho I needed to hunt down. In that same area, I killed him. But I forgot that a few moments before I arrived, I shot 2 voodoo boys smoking a joint on some Leonetian shit. And the police squad was looking for me in that same pier. I sneaked past one, but I killed the other. Thinking to myself how he was ever going to live with the fact that she was looking like Deborah from the show Dexter. Good Lord. Then I head to the Ripper Doc to chrome me up some more because I'm built different. Not even 10 minutes in, as I drove off to my next destination, guess who decided to chase me? The same cop from the pier on the motorcycle, shooting pow, 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 pow. Grr, 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 pow. He starts screaming, "You're gonna pay for what you did to my friend!" I pause the game. Then I'll pause the game to kill him and pause it again, and in that moment I knew that Cyberpunk officially had the power of immersion. If a game could do that without any miles or missions active, that's how you know you've done a great job, especially with the new DLC. Starfield just can't compare. Out of all the things I've said that were good about Starfield, it kind of gets thrown out the window when you spend a lot of time through the loading screens, the doors, the masks, the ladders, the fast traveling, the wandering through systems you haven't traveled to on some Warframe shit, mass, talking, not landing in a certain planet the way it's implemented in No Man's Sky, lack of density in and out of cities, no transportation in uncharted planets, mass, carrying contraband and getting caught while digilocking crates to get them back just to get arrested again when going to another star system, fucking mass, the list goes on. You won't see it at first till after you put a few hours in and you just can't unsee it no more. You think MXR came back with weekly mods just because he misses us? Or think the game is next level? Hell no. It's because it wasn't immersive. If it did, we wouldn't be playing the same game for more than a decade, and the reason why I almost stopped posting videos. If your game doesn't look like this when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, just don't play the game no more. Just stop making games, Bethesda. Todd Howard, my homie, said this a while ago, and it still holds up to this day. And that's, you can never play a Bethesda game without at least a mod or reshade. We've seen it so many times now. If you gave me vanilla Fallout 4, I'm gonna be bored out of my fucking mind playing it. But with mods, I'll still be bored, but at least I can make it look like I'm playing The Last of Us Part 3. So for Immersion, an overall final verdict, Phantom Liberty takes the dub, and is why Phantom Liberty did things that Starfield just couldn't do. But if you're on PC and have mods installed, then a point goes to Starfield and gets a little bit of leeway because that's the only time when it's decent. Now, does that mean that Starfield as a whole is a bad game? A little bit, but the bar is never high with Bethesda if I'm being honest, and both still hold the sci-fi elements for you to come back home at least with something. Plus, like I said before, it's all about perspective. If you feel a way about either of the games for whatever reason, then I hope I made you think a little bit more about what you missed or lack thereof. And if you want to see more gameplay videos or commentary like this, follow this channel. Follow the Twitch too, because I'll be streaming on Mondays and during the weekends. On top of that, I forgot to announce this, but we've officially got a Discord server. Yes, I know you have been telling me what is the Discord server behind closed doors, so I'm leaving that link in the description, or I'm gonna leave it somewhere in this video. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but when you see it, you'll see it, and just click on it. Also, you don't want to miss the amount of e-girls and crackhead activity that pops up late at night, I promise you. If you love this type of content, hit that like and subscribe button, and I will definitely call Pandam to give you some help.
I've been moving through my city, looking pretty. I've been